Hi, I'm Suresh Venkat. I'm in conversation with Jack Markell, Governor State of Delaware, USA. Governor, you are the first governor I've ever met on the show.
Nice to meet you.
Right. So let me ask you the first big question. How are things in the US? Are things picking up? Are things looking good?
You know, things are better than they were, but they're not good enough. And I think that's the attitude of most of us who care about putting people to work in our country.
Okay.
And we've got plenty of work to do. It's better than the absolute crisis it was a few years ago, but we've got lots of work to do.
Right. So people are talking about the double drip and now the triple dip recession. Is the US on its way out?
Well, we're doing everything we can to make sure we're on our way back. You know, I think one of the issues, there's obviously a lot of uncertainty in the business community about you know, where taxes are going and other issues like that. And so we focus every day on making sure that we've got the right workforce. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what matters most. You have the workforce that businesses need.
We in India are deeply concerned about the situation in Europe. What is the American view of what's happening in Europe these days?
Well, again, I think it's probably slightly less concerned than we were a year ago.
Okay.
Again, I think maybe they've stepped back from the abyss, but Europe is an incredibly important partner of the United States.
Okay.
And the truth is, we know that we're not, you know, our economy does not exist in isolation, and so we're very dependent upon what's happening around the world.
Both India and the US have had a very special political and a business relationship. Where do you see that going in 2013 and 14?
If you look at the progress that the Indian economy has made over the last few years, I mean, it is incredible. And I read earlier this week that Indian economists were concerned that growth was only going to be 5% this year. Now, of course, at this point, 5% growth in the U.S., we'd be happy with something.
On an admittedly smaller base in India, though.
No, understood. Understood. But we'd be happy with you know, something even a little bit less than that.
Okay.
You know, the linkage between the countries is growing and growing.
Okay.
And one of the things that we're encouraged by is the fact that more Indian companies are doing foreign direct investment into the United States. We'd love to see more of that. We'd of course love to see more opportunities for export as well.
A lot of American businesses are concerned about political stability and governance and continuity of policy in India. What are you telling your businesses from the US, the ones who want to invest in India?
One of the most important things that the United States and India shared is our shared democracy, and that's a very important shared values. In democracy, sometimes things can be messy. They certainly are in our own country. That goes with the territory.
Okay.
And I think the most important thing is what kind of relationships do we have with Indian businesses, particularly those that are investing in the United States.
Let's get to the tricky question of outsourcing. Various kinds of research has shown that for every job that's outsourced, it actually creates more jobs back in the US than it does to the country to which you outsource. Why is it so politically difficult to sell the idea of outsourcing to an electorate?
Well, number one, I mean, real people have lost real jobs as a result, and that is the wide-held you know, perspective.
Okay.
That being said, when I mean, over the last several years, Indian IT companies have doubled their employment in the United States from about 75,000 to about 150,000.
They're employing American citizens. They're employing Americans in America.
Right, and if you count the indirect jobs, it's grown even more than that.
Okay.
That's a really important part of the equation here,
okay.
And it's something it's important that continue. It's important that message get out. I think one of the things we absolutely recognize is that one of the reasons that the Indian IT industry has been so successful, it's migrated away from just you know, low wage, you know, low value programming to being really innovation partners, and that's been important.
Right. The state of Delaware is known to be a tax haven in the U.S. Am I right? A lot of
not
companies.
So much. No, I'd say what Delaware is known of is being incredibly business friendly. You know, our taxes are competitive.
Tax-friendly regime.
Our
Perhaps?
taxes are very competitive. Our cost of doing business is good. But most importantly, we've got a great workforce and a very responsive, very accessible government.
Okay. Last question to you. Many countries in the world, including India, are feeling that they need to protect themselves from external investors, from external companies. Where do you see this cultural nationalism or this cultural protectionism? Where is it going to lead to?
Well, in the real world, I mean, even in our state, we have plenty of companies that are based elsewhere. We have a company from India. One of the reasons I've come to India on this trip was to go to Pune, where I visit a company, Billcare. They make packaging for pharmaceuticals. They employ 100 people in our state. Those are 100 Delawareans who have a brighter future because of that investment. And I think we have to recognize this is, in fact, a global economy, and our job is to make sure we're doing everything we can to prepare people for that. And at the same time, it's important that other countries recognize that there are great opportunities to invest in the United States and put Americans to work too.
Right, let me ask you my final question, Governor Markell. There's a lot of talk about what's called the bottom of the social pyramid in India, that the process of liberalization and foreign investment in jobs is benefiting the middle class and the richer classes, but not really. The benefits are not translating to the poorest of the poor. Based on the experience that you have in the US, how would you advise Indian companies on how they could actually be more socially responsible and deliver benefits to the bottom of the pyramid?
I think it's an excellent question, and one of the things that we care most about is making sure that all people in our country benefit. You know, we don't have a guarantee of equal outcomes in the United States, but what we are committed to is equality of opportunity, that everybody can go as far as their potential will take them. Frankly, that starts with education. You know, we're convinced that the states and the countries that do a great job of education today will do a great job in the future, and I think that's going to be true around the world.
Right, so education, you say, is the key. Now, if you were to give our tech companies in India one big trend to watch out for in 2013 and 14, what is the one thing they should keep their eyes on?
In the United States? Well, I'd say, well, I mean, certainly one of the big issues in the United States has to do with the change in the energy markets. People would not have seen this coming even a year or two ago. With the reduction in natural gas prices, we see we could and the supply of natural gas, we could become independently self-sufficient in energy. We're seeing the cost of energy come down. We're seeing manufacturing come back. That's good for data centers, and so we think there are great opportunities in the United States.